Hey everybody. So I'm going to go over TradingView and how I set up my charts. And if you don't know anything about TradingView, this is going to be a pretty basic example of how to set charts up, how to use tickers, what tickers are, how to set up different indicators, what different time frames are, pretty much anything you need to know whenever it comes to investing and looking at charts. I'm going to be covering that in this tutorial here. It's not going to go in a whole bunch of depth into the indicators, but I can do that on a different video. I just want to show you how to learn how to set these up. So to begin, there is a TradingView on your phone, and then there's a TradingView for your computer. TradingView is the platform that is showing this chart here. So if you want to download the app on your phone, you can go ahead and do that, and then everything's pretty much very similar. Like for example, on this one, Bitcoin. So once you download the app, you can go and add. There's like a plus sign on the top right whenever it shows all of the other tickers that are manually added to your phone. You can add BTC USD, and you would have the Bitcoin chart saved on your phone. So the ticker would go up here. So if I want to look for Ethereum, for example, I would just type it in ETHUSD and then go to Bitstamp or whichever. Each one of these is a different exchange, so it's all going to have different volume on it. But typically, I pick one of the bigger exchanges, so Coinbase or Binance or Bitfinex, one of those. Okay, so we've got Bitcoin pulled up here. This is on a logarithmic chart too. Okay, so normally when you download TradingView, it's not going to show a logarithmic chart. It's going to show just a standard chart that looks like this. And if you zoom out, you can't really look at the data very well over here. Even if you zoom in here, it just doesn't look very great. So you'd have to zoom it out, and then you can't see this price action very much. It just looks like it just goes straight up, right? So every time I'm looking at a chart, I'm looking at a logarithmic chart. Now, I think on the phone, it's on the bottom right, and you can click, and then just click the logarithmic thing here. Okay. So look at the comparison of this chart. And everything I'm doing is on a logarithmic chart. If you use a Fibonacci or anything like that, it's going to look completely different. So I advise to stay on the logarithmic chart. So go through your phone, save all of the tickers that you want to save, and then click into them, and then you'll be able to see this chart. Okay, so candlesticks. Candlesticks are pretty important. They all kind of tell a specific story. There are time frames on candlesticks, and we're on the weekly right now, and I'll explain that here in just a second. So each one of these Japanese candlesticks, so there's 100 of them on this page, right? Each one of these represents 1 week of price data. Okay, they all kind of tell a story, right? So like if there's a big wick here, price action is most likely going to go up the next week. It's not always the case, but there's kind of a language to learn whenever it comes to Japanese candlesticks. I like to use Japanese candlesticks as a preference, but you can do hollow candles here. You can do bars as well. I don't like them near as much. So Japanese candlesticks, there we go. Okay, so when it comes to time frames, okay, so where it shows the weekly up here in the top left, if I click that, I can go down to anywhere from 1 minute all the way up to like a year or something like that. So if I want to look at entering a position, I'm probably going to look at like the hour or the 4 hour to kind of see where the indicators when it's time to buy based on the indicators. Now, longer term time frames are more accurate, but we'll get to that here in a second. So look at these candles. They're going to look completely different in the hour. Okay, so each one of these candlesticks is 1 hour of price data. If you look on the right here, it shows there's 3 minutes left on this one candle. All right, now if I go to a 4 hour, 4 hours, there's 1 hour and 2 minutes left on this candle, and this is a 4 hour candle. Okay, now we're going to go to a daily candle. Okay, the higher the time frame, the more accurate patterns play out. Most people focus on the hour because they're very emotional. If you're a long-term investor, it's better to pay attention to like the monthly candle or the weekly candle. That's going to predict the future better than daily candles and 4 hour candles longer term. Okay, so this is the daily. This one closes in 1 hour and 2 minutes. Okay, and the price looks completely different, right? So we're zooming farther out of this price action. So we're on the daily, and then we're zooming out to weekly candles. Okay, so all of that was pretty much just right here. So the price, everything looks different as well. And then you can even go out all the way out to a monthly. Okay, each one of these candles is monthly. So if you want to look at the whole entire chart, go to the monthly, and this shows 2015 down here. So it's about 10 years of price data right here, all on your chart. Okay, that pretty much covers the time frames. I look at pretty much all of them. I make decisions with all of them. And the better that you get, the more you'll kind of understand when you need to go to smaller time frames or longer time frames. Okay, on the bottom of this area down here is volume. So this is the price volume. Normally, if you look at least if you look at this beginning part here, so volume was increasing as the price was going up, right? So that's what you really want to be seeing. You can add volume. It should already be on the chart, but if it's not, I'll show you how to add indicators here in just a little bit. This just tells you, like, for example, this volume candle is bigger over here, so there's more people in the market, right? And then you can go to smaller time frames. Some of the exchanges, whenever it comes to digital assets, have different amounts of volume, so you want to pay attention to the bigger exchanges there, because volume kind of tells a story as well. If price is going up on less volume, like this is a green candle, right? It's not very much volume. There's a good chance that there's going to be a lower level, right? If you have a whole bunch of red selling volume here with a strong wick, that's a good chance that that was the bottom, and then everything else is about to start running. So volume does tell a story, and it's very important. Even looking down in 4 hour time frames, when something breaks out of a trend line, you want to see a whole bunch of growing volume. It just helps confirm that price is going to explode from there. Okay, so indicators. This is how you add indicators. I keep 3 indicators on there pretty much all of the time. I use a whole bunch of different indicators, but these are the 3 most important. Okay, so we're going to go over to indicators. Okay, those are my favorites that are saved, right? So if I want to put moving averages on there, like if I want to put a 50, 100, a 200-day moving average, you can search that. The 3 indicators that I mainly use is the stochastic RSI. So you type in stochastic RSI You can favorite it so you don't forget about it. You just press it and it's going to show up over here. Okay, kind of works the same with time frames. So you might look at this over here on a monthly and it looks different on a weekly. Okay, so the weekly looks completely different. The bottom represents oversold. The top represents overbought. The longer the time frame, the more accurate this is. And I might do a video on the stochastic RSI later, but I really just want to cover a tutorial how to get these things set up. Okay, so that's one of the indicators. There's things called oscillators too. So indicators are the things on the bottom. Oscillators are like the 200 moving average here. Okay, we're not going to really cover the oscillators too much. They go in depth quite a bit. The most important thing is the indicators on the bottom. Once you get more advanced, the moving averages are pretty helpful at pairing them with these. But okay, so let's go to another indicator. Instead of using the stochastic RSI, we're going to use something called the RSI, Relative Strength Index. Okay, I'm going to throw that up there too. Same situation here, overbought, oversold. However, this is a little bit different. Pairing these two together is very helpful, and in a future video I might cover that as well. Last thing is the moving average convergence divergence. So they call this the MACD. You can put that up there too. If you want to just look at the MACD, you can double click and then it'll show the whole entire chart. But all of these three paired together, you can make a pretty good educated guess on where the direction is most probably going to go. Okay, so if you want to get rid of these, you just would press the X. For you to have three indicators on the screen, I think you have to pay for the TradingView, the $15 a month or $10 a month Pro, which it's I highly recommend using it, just because you can change the weekly. You can add which time frames that you want. Like for example, TradingView is not going to have a 3-day chart. Like you have to manually add that on the bottom down here. Or actually up here, add custom interval. You don't have this if you're just using the free TradingView app. And I use the 3-day quite a lot. What I really like to use is the 4-hour, the 3-day, the 1 week, and the 1 month. Those are the most important ones that I use, but everybody has their own preferences. Okay, so over here on the left side, you can draw trend lines, right? So if I want to draw some kind of trend line or pattern break right here, you would just do this right here. So you had this falling wedge, you had a breakout, a retest. That was a very, very good spot to purchase crypto. Plus you had this Japanese candlestick. The wick was very long here. So most likely the price is going to go up from there. And if you would have just bought there based on reading that candlestick and this chart pattern on a weekly time frame, you would have been up quite a bit. So if you want to look at percentages of a move, so if you would have bought right there and you're up about 200%. If you want to draw anything on here, you can click this little thing, circle whatever you want, right? If you want to throw up Elliott wave, you can use, Elliott wave here. And then Fibonacci, if you want to use the Fibonacci. This is really important on the logarithmic chart too. So if you're going from the top here to the bottom, you need to make sure that this is on a logarithmic chart, so it'll Let's go down. So fib levels based on log scale. So it matches the chart that we're using. So that's good. And if you look here, once it cleared this fib level, it went to the next one, kind of set on support here, went to the next one, fell back down to the bottom one, and it's kind of at the top one here. So that's how you use the Fibonacci. And for the most part, I mean, you can do text and everything like that. There's you can highlight stuff. You can make rectangles here. So if you want to put some kind of cell box, like if this was your cell area right up here, you'd have your box, your buy box maybe down here somewhere, right? Because this is at a new, it's at a new all-time high. And then you've got all, you know, fib circles, all that stuff, gone fan, and then arrows and whatnot here. So something I didn't cover, so this is the price of the ticker. So Bitcoin shows its price over here at $63,748. Okay, so every chart you look at, the price is going to be over there. If it looks different, there's a way to change it in the settings. Sometimes it just has like percentages over here, but you can change that in the settings. You can also look at two different charts at one time. So if you think BTC and the US dollar compare with each other, you can come here and press something, press that to split the chart. If you want to split it that way, you can, or you can split it this way and kind of compare the charts together. Like the line right here shows the same prices, the same time frame. Okay, let's see if I'm missing anything. You can set alerts too. I don't really do those, but that would be pretty helpful. Yeah, okay. I think that pretty much covers everything. So if you have any questions, you can put them down in the video at the bottom of the video, and then I can answer those for everybody if you need it. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a pretty basic tutorial, but it should cover mostly everything that gets you started whenever you're interested in investing in stocks or crypto. But I will look into the indicators here shortly and then make some videos on each one of those indicators and how I use them. All right, y'all have a good week.